Hello and welcome back to the RiftGuides WildRift video. Now it's time to talk about all the item changes and everything in the game, and I have the Chinese notes here. Keep in mind they're not absolutely accurate because they're Google translated and there's some things missing, but we'll get like roughly a pretty good idea about these changes. So let's start and take a look at 6.2 and dive into all the changes. Okay, equipment changes. Yodel Equipment Special Topic. We've been fighting in Bandle Canyon for some time. As we explore deeper, some equipment has been tainted with the scent of Bandle magic, which has caused their mechanisms to change. We see in a redemption change here. Let me see if this is all perfect. Yeah, the ability haste is from 20 to 15, and the effect of redemption will now get triggered even if there's no heroes around. That's a straight up buff for redemption, but it doesn't really change too much for the item. This item should not be built on enchanters. It doesn't have a purpose anymore. Like now it's even less of a purpose because you lose even more haste. And this item was an item that some tanks could build just to have more haste, infinite mana, because it builds out of a catalyst of the eons, which then makes your mana not a problem anymore. For example, Nautilus. But then again, you would only buy catalyst instead of completing the item. So yeah, bit of a nothing burger here. The next thing that we have though is going to be Yodel Sunfire. It has an entirely new passive, which is quite interesting if you ask me, like really interesting. So we have, when sacrifice is fully charged, which is the passive of the item, the ground you walk on now will burn, causing 7 to 10 plus 0.3% of your extra health as magic damage per second, lasting up to 5 seconds, incineration damage from 130 to 275 to 250. This is a change that's very good if the enemy is chasing into you, but not very good if you're chasing after enemies. So fundamentally speaking, you need to pick this when you can basically dictate that the enemy walks into your path. Otherwise, the change is not going to do too much because you have to fully stack it, right? Like, if you don't fully stack the item, it doesn't do anything. It stacks on monsters, like big monsters, the epic monsters, like Baron and Herald and stuff. Baron, Herald, Dragons. And then you can play around it a little bit, but it's like an interesting change, but again, like, if you're walking after people, it doesn't do anything. If they walk after you, it's pretty insane extra damage. Yodel Harmony, which is harmonic echoes, like this is harmonic echoes. Basic attributes, total price 2700 to 2600, minus 15 spell power. When harmony is applied to the primary target, it will bounce to a nearby for 50% of the harmony's effect healing. When harmony is triggered, it will provide resuscitation effect to the primary target, restoring 2% of the target's maximum health per second for 3 seconds. This isn't the entire notes for this one, by the way. There's more. They changed the healing from AP scaling to max health of the target, and then you'll heal a target for flat value plus HP of that target, and then if this is triggered, the target gets a healing buff as well on top. Again, like this is an insane item buff, It's absolutely broken. You don't see it here yet, and also the effects on a target's sub, I think 30% also still increased. You don't see it here, but on the in-game PvE, it's like this. Yodel Mask of Pain. Damage per second, 0.4 and 0.005% spell power of the maximum health to 0.6 to 2% max health. So this is now capped and doesn't scale anymore with AP, but it scales with levels now. Every 4 seconds that this Liandry dot does damage to an enemy, it will detonate the target and cause 40 plus 5% true damage at once. Okay, so Liandry has become a better early game, mid-game item, and should be competitive with the old version, but I think it's weaker still, because I think you get up to 3.5% maximum health damage per tick, and then it depends on the HP of the target for it to have true super value. It's a very interesting change. Timo loves this, Lilia loves this, Brand loves this, all the champs that first item these items are really insane with that one. Okay, Yodel, Infinity Orb, you lose 5 AP here, the Thunderfall. Within 3 seconds of inflicting a critical effect on an enemy hero, so when they are low HP, if the target dies, lightning will strike at the death location, causing 50 to 85 plus 20% spell power magic to nearby enemies. So this is like Luden on a little bit of more crack for AoE, just on another item. So let's say you have this item and you're in a team fight and you execute one target, then the other people will also take a good chunk of extra damage. In many builds, Infinity Orb has been the second item of choice, when you didn't need like anti-shielding, so this makes it even better in that regard. Cyrilda's Grudge, this is the armor pen item. It keeps the armor pen. They increase the cost by 200. The item build path is Caulfield's Hammer, Last Whisper, Longsword plus 800 gold, and has a new effect. Apply Frostbite effect to the enemy champions by the cold slowing effect for, like, you still slow them, okay. When 3 layers of Frostbite effect are applied, all Frostbite layers will be consumed and the target will fall into a bleeding state, like Talon passive, and you deal 30 to 100 plus 70% bonus 80 within 2 seconds, and causing a 50% anti-healing effect on that target. So this question here is this per target, or is this in total? That makes you deal so much more damage. But again, I think there's missing that there's still like the slow and still the armor pen. Okay, Duskblade. It loses 5 AD, but defeating an enemy will grant you 1 second of invisibility, in which you will gain 60% movement speed, but has a 5-second cooldown. This is interesting for assassins, like you can look at kerxx, Talon, Pike, even maybe AD carries, certain AD carries like Jhin, Draven, if they don't need the utility item, so it's very interesting. Yordle Hurricane. Finally, we have some bonus range nerfs, what I was always complaining about, so this is already very good. Favor of the Wind, gain 20 to 40 adaptive power, now it's 15 to 30, so it's an effective nerf for 25% here. Every time you perform 2 normal attacks, your next normal attack will shoot an additional arrow with 10% of your total attack power and the target and apply on-hit effects. So if you're not familiar with Ginsu's Rage Quit from PC, you now have this on Runaan's Hurricane. They made the item a little bit weaker, but now it scales even better with on-hit effects. Like for example, Kayle on-hit, Kai'Sa on-hit, Varus, all these champions are a lot better with this, because this third hit here will basically be a phantom hit that mimics all your on-hit effects, dealing a lot more damage. Yordle, Death's Dance. Store physical damage taken, now you store every single bit of damage taken. This is now insanely powerful for all these bruiser reset champions like Riven, Aatrox, Ambessa, because effectively you had a big problem of facing magical damage because your only item would be Maw in an offensive way, and now you have an item that does both against physical and magical damage. So you have Amaranth, but as an offensive option, because don't forget, like, the item doesn't grant you resistances, but since the damage you take is staggered, like, you take like less burst damage, which means you basically have fake resistances for some time, and if you get a kill in that time, you get that HP back. Critical Shoot with Special. We made some batch adjustment to the equipment of Marksman, so that Marksman can get high benefits when choosing equipment that suits their characteristics. Among them, we focused on adjusting the properties of mechanisms of Critical Strike equipment, so that Marksmen who choose Critical Strike equipment have stronger dominance and the ability to end the game in the later stages. So they're basically saying Marksmen weren't strong enough in the late game. Ah, okay, gotcha. Soul Migration is a new item. 3100, 20 AD, 25 crit, 35% attack speed, Zeal, Noon, Quiver, Gold. When a normal attack causes a critical hit on an enemy champion or an epic monster, a clone will be summoned for 4 seconds to attack nearby enemies. The clone will inherit 25% of the original body's attack power and gain additional attack speed of 30% of the original body's crit rate. A maximum of 2 clones can exist at the same time. If a clone is more than 600 yards away of the main body, it will disappear prematurely. The question is, do they inherit your items? Like, for example, on-hit stuff. Like, if your 5th item is Runaan's, does your clone get Runaan's? That's my question. Because if it is the case, that's crazy. And other champions that are coded to always crit, like Ashe, does this item work as a first item for her? Big question. Very big question. But yeah, this is not a first item though, unless like you can abuse the mechanic of the item. For example, on Ashe, if it works. It's probably more like a 4th item. Because your 2nd will probably be functionality based, your 1st is core, 3rd is then the choice between IE and Mortal, and then here you have the slot available for that one. Bloodthirster. It's 300 gold cheaper, gains 15% attack speed now. The build path loses a longsword, and it has a new passive. You lose 2% lifesteal, but now when you crit, you provide another 4% crit on that hit. When your health is likely to drop below 30%, then by the next damage, the item will generate a shield, granting you 225 to 550, and granting you resistances for 5 seconds. Okay, this is insane. This is a very, very insane, because I think in game I saw it still as 50. In the patch, like in the patch preview, it said 30. If it had 30, the item would be dead. But since it still has 50 AD, this is a very powerful first item. Like, very powerful first item, because it makes you a lot tankier, makes it a lot safer for you to play. And since it grants you resistances when being low, it's also nothing you should like completely discount. So BT is still a very good first item, if it releases with 50 AD. Navori's Swiftblade, and we have an adjustment here. We lose 5 AD. we lose 15 haste, but we gain 15 attack speed. The build path is Noon Quiver, Cloak of Agility, and 650 gold. Critical hits reduced and non-ultimate cooldown abilities is now 15 instead of 20%, and your skills deal up to 12% increase on critical chance, so they're basically merging a Sense Reaver and this item. That's very interesting. It depends on who can use this item. Like Cive used to be the champion that built it on the second item slot. Do other champions come to mind? Maybe this can actually be a Yona item, like a Yasuo Yona item. Funnily enough, because it increases your skills damage. Like if it increases your skills damage, so you might be cheating with this. Like it provides you with so many things. Like it should remain, like it should keep crit. It's not mentioned here, but it should keep crit because it builds on a Cloak of Agility. And then it increases your skills damage by 12% based on your crit chance. So this should be a very good Yona and Yasuo item, maybe. Over all the other champions, funnily enough. Strong Magnetic Gun adjustment, so this is the rapid fire cannon. It gains 25 AD, loses 10% attack speed, and now the energized attack grants you additional 100 attack range compared to 125, and does 50 to 120, same. And it grants you the movement speed of 60 per 0.75 seconds, and the effect will bounce and can trigger a crit and does bonus damage to minions. So we have now the Giga Static Shift. Like the Giga Static Shift. This item is now a lot better. This will help Caitlyn a lot as well. That might actually fit into a very good second item slot now, because you don't have the problem of not having AD. Like second or fourth, but the problem is you have also the other, like, it's going to be very interesting to see, most definitely. Like, but this item has gotten a lot better with this. Mortal Reminder is getting a lot cheaper, 200 gold, loses 5 AD though, gains attack. So this item has very, very bad ratio. 25 AD on a crit item is really, like this is so painful. Like 33 pen to 30 pen, but now you get an extra 6 pen when you crit, so the item becomes better afterwards, but losing 5 AD on the crit item is painful. I don't know why they're buffing all the other items, so they're nerfing the pen item for that one, at least early game, so it's like to make sure you don't rush this item, but still, I'm not like really a fan of this one. And what is Desperate Justice? I think that is Executioner's Calling in the English client. Collector buff. I'm the huge collector hater, but here 40 to 45 buffing AD on crit items is pretty huge. And now you have a new effect. If the enemy hero health is lower than the maximum health, like the change is from 5 to 4%, but plus 2% of your crit rate. I don't know if there's like a translation in this, but let's see in the future. After causing damage to the enemy hero, the target will be executed directly, and the maximum health percentage of the execution will be permanently increased by 0.1%. So Collector is now a snowballing item that actually snowballs and scales. Has more AD, has a scaling factor, so it actually does something. And the premier item, BT, damage-wise, got nerfed. So Collector is now a potential option for a few champions. A Sense Reaver, 3,50 gold to 3,000, loses 5 AD, and using skills will accumulate Curse Blade up to 3 charges, which lasts up to 10 seconds. When a basic attack hits an enemy, 1 charge is consumed, dealing bonus physical damage equal to 90% of the base attack damage to the target and providing 40 movement speed. This bonus can crit, and each skill can only generate 1 charge every 2 seconds. So it's a combination of Trinity Force, Solari Charge Blade, and yeah, a crit version. Like, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Like, it's a combination of these 2 items into Sense Reaper. So the problem is with this item, first off, it's physical damage. Second, it's 90% of your base attack damage. So if there's one champion that comes to mind that can utilize this item as maybe a starter item, maybe Viego could. Maybe Viego would also rather go for Collector BT now earlier. Like, Trinity Force provides him such a good stat line, so he might even not build this item. But then the problem is he doesn't have Solari anymore, so then you're like sitting there. You might go for the Collector build then, because there might be a reason now. So for Yona we have the multiple choices. For Viego we have Trinity Force into Collector now after this patch, or a Sense Reaver into full crit. So we either have accelerated crit or like a Collector. Kind of weird. Phantom Dancer. Basic attributes, it's 200 gold cheaper. It loses 5 AD, gains 10% attack speed. The old passive is being removed. After hitting a hero with a normal attack, gain 25% attack speed and 7% extra movement speed, which lasts for 3 seconds and cannot be stacked. During the duration, if the normal attack hits, it's a critical hit. The duration is extended by 1 second. Normal attack cooldown reduce the cooldown by 1 second. Isn't this just worse? Like, I mean, it's not worse, but the item is still dead, no? The item still is dead. I don't see a reason to build this item. Like, it's 20 AD. It's 20 AD. What do I want with this item? There must be some more to this one, I hope. Infinity Edge. Breaking the limit. When the critical strike rate you obtain from equipment is greater than 100%, each excess 1% is converted into 0.6% crit damage. This is funny, because every AD carry build that will go crit will have Runans in their build, so you'll be forced to have 4 items, so the new passive is kind of worthless. If you don't have Runans, you probably lose damage. Even if you have the ghosty item, it's probably going to be less damage. Maybe in a few situations you might be able to substitute the Runans with the crit item, like the crit spawn item, or like these ghost soul exchange thingy. But the real question is, what happens to Yasuo and Yone with this Infinity Edge change? Like, what does happen here? Because they might do crazy damage with this one, so that's definitely something to look out for. Ardent Sensor. When getting a shield, it was 20 to 40 damage on that target. When restoring health or providing a shield, normal attacks deal 16 to 30, so it's a nerf for on hit, which can trigger a critical hit. So this magic damage apparently can crit. So we got an Ardent Sensor buff for crit before GTA 6. Interesting. Nash's Tooth. The bonus ratios were changed here. We have 15 to 25 and 25% AP to 15 to 20% AD plus 30% AP. So AP on hit builds for Kai'Sa, Varys, Kayle have gotten better with this one. At the same time, we see an on hit nerf for Wit's End. Wit's End was already not a good item. You just build a bunny-handed enchant and just want resistances plus attack speed. It's 100 gold more expensive and does less damage. Dead item. It's a dead item, unless again you have an enchanter and go for Runans, then it's a different story because you have this phantom hit mechanic. Then we have new enchantments. Advanced Destroyer. Breaking Shockwave after... I think this is Glorious Enchant. Yeah, this should be Glorious. Glorious Enchant. After activating it, it will move forward a short distance and cause 150% of your physical attack power to the surrounding area after hitting. It will slow an enemy by 30%. Yeah, this is Glorious. Interesting change, so now is a damage enchantment, as well as slow. Bloodthirsting Axe. Hungry Slash deal 200... This is Gore Drinker. 280 base damage, AoE. Recover 20% of your AD plus 12% for each enemy hero hit. Aatrox, I'm looking at you. Kha'Zix, like all the Bruiser champion, can look into this item and be absolutely invincible. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Wind Force, this is Gale Force from PC. Move a certain distance in a targeted direction like Protobelt, and you shoot 3 projectiles to the lowest health target near the end of point, giving priority to heroes and causing 50 to 150 plus 45 additional attack bar physical damage. The question is this per individual bolt or in total? That's the question. Equipment, Justice Glory. No, this is just damage glory. We still have glory. Okay. So you gain 30% movement speed instead of 15. But it's not getting faster anymore. It's 30 at all times. A shockwave hits an enemy hero, reducing the enemy's hero movement speed by 60% instead of 50%. At the same time, you gain 20% tenacity and slow resistance for 3 seconds. So this is just for engaged tanks. It's a nice idea. It's not the world. Gargoyle Plate. Stone Plate. Gain a shield equal to 28. It's now 20% of your health, and it increased by 0.1% for every point of extra armor and magic resist. Up to a maximum of 35%. So it's a base nerf, but a scaling buff. Gain an additional of 10% of maximum for each enemy. For each nearby enemy, gain an additional of 5%, and increase your armor for each point up to 12%. So they make Gargoyle weaker early game, but Gargoyle stronger late game. Is that right? I think so. Which is fine, like Gargoyle early game is too OP. A chemical high pressure tank. Isn't that just, what is it called? Hextech Repulsor. After short delay, knockback and stun nearby enemies. Yeah, it now has knockback and stun AoE instead of just no knockback, so its item is objectively better than before. Protobelt, that's insane. When a rocket hits a target, it reduces the enemy's magic resist by 30%. Hello, Evelyn. After the release, gains 20% movement speed. That decays over 3 seconds, and the cooldown is lowered. This is insane. You can probably combo this with like engaged supports as well, because you reduce the target's magic resist. And if you hit multiple people, he will also reduce multiple people's magic resist. So this is going to be insane. Like, if you have an APC, you engage character, your engage support, let's say Leona, goes in, long range ult, protobelts to reduce the magic resist, and then you just nuke every single like AP ability on the enemy's forehead and they just die because they lose like all this magic resistance. I think that's kind of insane of a combo. Veil gets an adjustment. In the past, you only had a 3-second spell shield only, keep that in mind. And now you purify a designated hero from your allies from all restriction and immobilization effects and provide a spell shield that can block the enemy next spell for 5 seconds. How broken are enchanters? Riot Games, please, I beg on my knees. What is this nonsense? The Dream Fulfiller, it's the dreamy item thing here. You gain 2 dream bubbles every 6 seconds when actively providing healing or shielding to a teammate. Both bubbles will fly to each other and empower them for 3 seconds. 2 bubbles can increase the next hit by 15 to 90, and the gain movement speed from 50 to 90, and the bonus will last for 3 seconds. I don't really see anyone building this item because there's just no point. Like, if you have this Veil item, why would you build this item? I don't think that's needed, no? I guess it's just an option. What is Hex Claw? I think this is supposed to be, what's it called again? Like, I know, like the item you built on Assassins on PC in the past before it was removed. Oh no, wait. Huh? Wait, is this Magnetron? Is this Magnetron then? This is Magnetron, no? I'm so confused. Select the direction to release after hitting your own soldier, friendly hero, or wall quickly. Reach to the location, then gain movement speed. If you miss the target, I think, yeah, that this is then Magnetron or something. Magnetron, just while you can action sling around. Greedy Hydra, this is going to be Ravenous Hydra, Blood/active. After it's turned on, so it's now a toggle effect, normal attacks in the next 9 seconds will generate a ranged splash, causing 40% of your attack damage or physical damage splash damage. The melee splash range is harder and the long range splash damage is slightly smaller, 30 seconds cooldown. So if you have Runons plus this enchantment, this is going to be absolutely insane. I want to see teamfights with this. This is going to break the game. There's no way if that works together. There's just no way. It's illegal. Hullbreaker is coming back, babies. Ainting Scion, hello. 3,100 gold, 400 health, 45 AD, 4% movement speed. Every 5th attack on his PC against heroes and monsters. Deal, like epic monsters, is 160 of your base attack damage plus 5% of your maximum health as extra physical damage. Nerfed for ranged heroes. This amount increases to 230% and 9% against buildings. Boarding team. Nearby friendly cannons or super soldiers gain 20 to 130 armor, 50 for ranged heroes, and 1 to 120 magic resist. This is going to be so obnoxious. It's going to be so obnoxious again. Scion, all these champions, all these top lanes are so, like, that it's going to be so difficult to do anything. They'll just have this item, you'll not be able to clear minions, and there's only pain. Equipment, Eclipse. Eclipse is made more expensive and gains even more AD, oh boy. Finally, remember when the item started with 50 AD or something? Oh boy, now, oh, and damage dealt from 6 to 7%. No way. That is insane. Like, the item is so much better compared to its release. Wow. Last Whisper. Okay, Last Whisper is made a lot cheaper, lost all its AD, and has armor pen now. I don't really know why. I don't really know, but it's whatever basically. This is the little needle from Baron. It's Nash's Talon, I think it's called. And instead of 20 to 40, you gain 15 to 30. This is components. This is kerxx Shard. It's the little one, the little component you use to build Rapid Fire Cannon or Rapid Blaster, whatever the name was. It gains 15 AD but loses all attack speed. So that's a huge difference. Also, it doesn't have its... Does it still have its active? I don't think I see it, but yeah. Plated Steel Cap. Physical damage taken from all sources from 7 to 10. Physical damage, like, turns to physical damage taken from only heroes. So you don't take less damage from minions, monsters, etc. The same happens to Merc Threats here, you see. It's literally the same. It's only from champions now. Boots of Clarity, it's Boots of Lucidity. Heroes with no mana gain 75 extra health regeneration, so Vladimir, for example. Boots of Mana. The same happens here. If you don't have any mana, you gain extra health regen. Again, also an option for Vladimir. Removal of items. This is Solar Charge Blade, Immortal Shield Bow, Storm Razor, Meteor Enchant, and we gain Teleport and adjusted to Summoner Spell. If Meteorite is Meteor, like the enchantment, then it's a huge sad day for me. But what can be done? And yeah, these are all the item changes we have so far. And we will look into the other changes in another video. I hope you like this video. It's a lot of yapping, but what can you do? Sometimes it's all about yapping. And make sure to like the video, come back for more content, and we'll see each other for more content very soon, be it stream or videos. Take care and have a beautiful day.